Another bit of functionality you can add to your app is the ability to do something when you swipe your fingers on a list item. So here I am on my sampled finish application, and I can grab any of these items and swipe to the left, and you'll see this icon show up on the right. If I click on it, I can turn on a star, or I can turn it off if I click it on or off. And I can do that to any one of these elements, which is pretty cool. So let's see what it takes to add that to our application. So right now, our application's looking like this. And I'm going to start off in the index.html document. And I'll start off by creating the star that will appear next to each user. So I'm going to create a button with a class of button with a clear background. And it's going to have an icon, which is going to be ion star. And this will be a button assertive, which looks red when it's displayed. Then what I'll do is I'll add an ng click directive. That means that when somebody clicks on this button, I can run a function called toggle star with the current item, and somebody can turn the star on and off when they tap on it once a user has been assigned that star. And I only want to show this star if the current item has been assigned a star. So I'm going to say ng show, and if the item has a star element. So we're going to add this whenever somebody taps on a star. We're going to take that item and add something to it. And if that has been added, of course, we want to show it. So then I need to close out the button. And next, I need to create the button that will appear when you swipe the item to the left. So this one will be an ion option button. Going to have a class of button dark. This is the background color of the button. And of course, we'll give it the same ng click directive that toggles the star when somebody taps on this as well. Then in here, I'm going to create an icon. So I'll use an I tag. And this I will have a class of icon and ion star. And then we need to close out this ion option button. Next, I need to adjust the ion item directive to make sure that the icon can show up on the right-hand side. So right here, I already have a class of item thumbnail left, and I want to add another one of item icon right. And now we can add some code to actually take care of the toggling. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to switch over to app.js, and I'll add to the scope a function called toggle star. And that's going to be pretty simple. It's going to get the item, and then it's just going to toggle the star. Sort of what we did with some of the other elements. We're putting this inside a function this time. All right, let's see if that's working. We'll come over here. This button shows up, and when we tap it, we get the little star right here. And we can tap here to turn that star off if we want to. If we want to add it, we could just click it right there. And we can do this with any one of these different speakers. So I want to make clicking on the star a little bit more obvious. What I'd like to do is change the color of the background on each element, just so that when we're quickly looking at the list, we can see this bar sort of highlighted a little better. And so what I'm going to do is add a conditional class to my ion item. So in index.html, I'll look for ion item, and here it is right here. And I'm going to add something called ng class. That is a class that depends on the value of some expression. So if the expression is true, we can set something, and if it's false, we can set it to be something else. So here what I want to do is say star, and then item.star. So what this means is we're going to assign the ion item a class of star as long as item star has a value of true. So that actually needs to go in curly braces because it's an expression, right? So if we save this, and I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these, and then right click and select inspect element. And if we take a look at the code over here, it might be a little bit hard to see. Let's go ahead and see if we can scroll to the current item, which is kind of on the top. Actually, probably be better if we make this a lot wider because we don't need to see the code right now. I just want to show you the classes. So there is the content section. And if we open this up, We've got the star. So if you take a look at this ng class right here, you can see that some of this code is going to change as I swipe this in and out. So notice there's some parts of this that are being highlighted. I don't know if you can tell really well. So actually, let me go to the top and turn this star off. As I'm doing things here, you can see some of these classes turning on and off and adjusting. And we can use those classes that are being assigned to control the look and feel of different elements at different points in time. So here is our ng class. And let's go ahead and make this smaller again. I'm noticing a little error here, which I need to fix as well. And it's actually a little simple error. So I need to go into this source and make sure that I put ng-src. And that should take care of that error. So let's inspect element again. It just means that when you do load things via a template, you want to use ng source instead of source to make sure that no errors happen as a result of the browser trying to load something called curly item short name that doesn't really exist. That's because usually the browser will load this script, but Angular hasn't had a chance to modify some of these elements yet. So, okay, let's go ahead and close this out. We don't see, I think, the error anymore. It's gone. So what we could do now is open up our CSS file. And what I want to do in this style sheet is look for the class called start that is being added, and then find the element called item content that's actually generated for each one of these items. And let's see if I can scroll to the top and turn one of these on. And that's what I want to change the background color of. So I'm going to choose pound EE86. And just in case, I'm going to make it important. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. And you should see this color appear. Now, if I just look for the class of star, it wouldn't work because some of the code that gets generated by your activity on these elements includes an internal container. So if we scroll up, it's a little bit hard to see, but if we inspect element on this item right here, we'll be able to see that the background color of the element actually happens in this class right here called item content. And we're adding our conditional class up here. So we need to modify the child of this highlighted area here, and it's called item content. So sometimes you have to go through and dig into the sort of CSS that gets injected by some of these applications to figure out how to modify your content. So this looks pretty good. And that just about covers all the options that are available with lists. Now, this is actually even easier than some of the other options that we picked, and it makes our application be a lot friendlier.